Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your boy Zai. You already know what time it is, but basically, before I even get into what I want to talk about, which you can tell by the title of the video, which will be about Monique Munoz, which died tragically due to a negligent driver at the tender age of 17 years old. I say tender, not to make light of it, but you know, at that age, you're still considered a kid until you hit teens. But he decided to do grown-up things, which led to the death, you know, of somebody that didn't deserve to die. But before I even get into that, man, for the people that support the channel, you know, shouts out to you. For the people that are new to the channel, like, subscribe, so you can get all notifications, hit that bell, and basically just get into it. Well, basically, for the people that maybe don't know about the story, basically this guy was 17 years old. His dad bought him a Lamborghini. Yeah, as far as I know, it's a Lamborghini, but in the picture it looked like something entirely different. But it was in fact a Lamborghini. He was doing somewhere upwards to 125 miles per hour, and in the process of being reckless, he cost somebody their life. Now there's a lot of people on the street protesting about this right now, so there should be a lot of people that actually know what's going on with this story. But for the ones that don't, I'll give you a little insight on this, because at the end of the day, it's pretty much come down to rich and poor, and not necessarily poor. I don't want to use those words. I use them loosely in this particular video because the person that, you know, died, as far as I know, was nowhere even close to being poor. She was a receptionist. You know, if you saw the beginning of the pictures that I showed, you know, she had a bright future. And like I said, I didn't dig too much into her pictures, you know what I mean? But because a lot of people that are mourning her right now really don't want to see that. I'm talking low right now because there's people in the house sleep. A lot of people go to work, you know what I mean? So out of respect for my family, I chose to keep it down. But besides that, you know, she was hit by a 17-year-old driver that had no license, you know. For one, he shouldn't even been in a Lamborghini not having a license. But you know, when you're dealing with people that are on the level, what people might consider the upper echelon, because if, well, let me just break down. His dad is a e-commerce guru, so that should tell you right there exactly what type of person you're dealing with. See, and the whole thing, you know, with her death, people wouldn't have been so much up in arms if it was just been an accident, which, let me take that back, because it was an accident. It was a gross miscalculation of exactly what type of speed you can handle at that age. But you know, a lot of kids, they get reckless when they're young. They really don't pay attention, or you know, they've cheated death so many times that they really never really sit down and take into consideration that there's a possibility that they could take somebody like me. It's like me, whenever, you know, I drive, I've never drink and drive. I go to a lot of events, I don't drink unless there's somebody that's a designated driver. And I really don't drink, period, when I go out, just so I'll be on my, you know, on my P's and Q's, on my toes, you know. But if I did, I would never drive. Just, it's simply for the fact, all it takes is for a split second for you to end somebody's life, which happened here. And it's a difference, because he wasn't drunk, he was sober. He was being reckless on the street with a blatant disregard for any individual's life on that street. And it just so happened that he happened to be going upwards to 120. Like, you hear the bleeding hearts come on here and be like, oh my God, you know, he was young. The cat was doing 125 on the street, and he killed a 32-year-old receptionist. Like I said, had all her life ahead of you. When you're in your 30s, you're still primed to do a lot of things. And if you look at her pictures, you can pretty much get a general idea of exactly where she was going to. She probably had many dreams, but due to the fact that this youngster took it upon himself to jump in a Lamborghini that his father bought him with no license, and probably didn't have no proper training or anything when you're handling, because when you're dealing with hardware like that, you know, the speeds, it's like being in a Honda. You press a little bit too hard, or you don't even notice, and you can, and your speeds can jet anywhere from 40 miles an hour upwards to like 80 in a matter of seconds, because the swiftness is so I'm assuming in a car like a Lamborghini, though it may feel smooth with the acceleration, you still know that you're going 125 miles per hour. But I'm just gonna say like this, you know, because a lot of people are on his dad. As a parent, when your kid do something wrong, you automatically jump, you know, to defend him. And it's not wrong that he defended his son, because if you see in some videos, he's telling his son, you know, don't say nothing, which is a lot of parents that have dealt with kids that have been incarcerated are, you know, that's the one thing, keep your mouth shut, don't say nothing until we got a lawyer. That's the smartest thing to say. And that wouldn't have been no problem. See, he's, you know, trying to appeal to the bleeding hearts right now. Oh, poor me, my son, poor this. But see where he messed up, which a lot of people find fake now. Well, white people don't believe that he's remorseful about the death of Monique Munoz, is because instead of reaching out to the family, seeing what he can do, and really trying to teach his sons that there's consequence to your actions, he went on a whole campaign basically to paint his son as some type of saint, and which, you know, like I said, as a parent you do that, but out of blatant disregard for the fact that somebody just lost their life, you know. And that all comes down to this. At the end of the day, when you're dealing with people with that much money, most of them had that arrogant attitude that life really doesn't matter if it's not a life that's close to you. It's a difference between what they consider rich and peasants. Whether you're making money, you got a good job, it's still always going to be looked down upon because you're not at their level. You're not, and there's so many different levels in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? You have the rich, the super rich, and you got the ones that are middle class, which are considered poor because in LA, everything costs, and it costs a lot. And and a lot of people are chasing this dream of being rich, you know what I mean, and never really quite getting there. It's simply for the fact that that is California. But this is not to go into the state. This is basically a reflection of what, you know, of what I witnessed looking at the videos of her car in shambles, because like I said, a 17-year-old kid was doing too much and he cost somebody his life. Now, I'm never one to get on here and press for people to do time in jail, but consequences are consequences. You know, today he was picked up and he was charged with vehicular manslaughter, I'm assuming. Now, only time will tell whether he really is actually charged with it and actually suffer some type of time, or, you know, there's consequences to what he did. It really depends on who his dad is. Like what people fail to realize is, regardless whether you're rich or not, you can have all the money in the world, but there's some people that still believe in morals, so they're not gonna allow, you know, some people like that to go free. Not saying that they're gonna hang this guy or put him in a position to where he's never gonna get out, but there is a strong possibility that if he goes behind certain bars, with people feeling so up in arms about it, which a lot of people are making more race than just a human being. She was a child of God that lost her life. Her parents are suffering, so it's not really about race. It should be on the fact that she lost her life, and she could have, you know, nobody knows the possibilities of what she could have became. But like I said, when it comes down to this, people have asked me this, you know, because I had put out a post, what do you think is going to happen with this kid? And a lot of people said he should burn, and I'm not going to go that far to say he should burn, because I am no one to judge another man, especially a child. He's 17, so he's still a child, and you can tell just by his actions what he was doing, the way he was racing around recklessly. He's a child, because anybody with a semblance of adult intelligence would know that going 125 on surface streets is the wrong thing to do. And it really comes down to his father. And I don't like to attack people that didn't actually you know, commit the crime themselves, but a spade is a spade. You bought your son at 17 years old a Lamborghini with no type of license, and gave him the keys for him to jump in and do exactly what he did. Race recklessly down the street and kill an innocent human being. He deserves whatever he gets. Like I said, I'm not here to advocate for anything or for the cops or, or justice is justice. We all must suffer the consequences. If he was, less, here's the thing. If he was one of those that didn't have any type of money, it would be a no-brainer. Society would say what they said and he would get stuck. Plain and simple fact. He will suffer the consequences and do the rest of his life in prison, but due to the simple fact that his family has this type of money, being in Los Angeles is crooked. There's a lot of different moves that are made every day that we will never understand because we don't have that type of money to be able to move like these cats do. But my honest opinion, whether a child or not, I'm not going to say he deserves to, rot the rest of his life, because I would never wish that on anybody. But he deserves to understand what the consequences of his actions, and his actions clearly cost somebody their life. And now there's parents that raise a child only to grow to a tender age. I won't even say to a tender age, but to a young age of 32 to lose her life. To bull is different. Like for guys like me and dudes that are street and girls that that are more street, when you get involved in certain things happen. But for somebody to not be involved in that was on the road to doing a lot and to be snuffed out for no reason other than maybe God wanted her to come home. Like it makes absolutely no sense to me, and it don't make sense to a lot of people, and that's why people on the street protesting right now. So for the insensitive ass people that are on here talking about people that are up in arms at the fact that this dude was rich and he did a smear campaign and try to paint his son as some saint, you're mad because these people want justice, and you believe because you're bleeding hearts that he should go free. He needs to suffer the same consequences of anybody else that's put in that situation. If you commit a crime, you pay for it. I pay for it. A lot of people pay for it. And it was gang related. This didn't need to happen. If you, James Curry or whatever, as a father, had any semblance of intelligence, you would have never had your son keys to a Lamborghini without him being properly trained in driving a car of that caliber. We all know that when they bring Lamborghinis from Europe over here, they have to not dumb it down, but they have to make them a lot slower because they're too fast. We don't get the fast version, and it's still fast. I'm not here to hate on the fact that he's rich like some cats. It's not about that. It's a simple fact that he cost somebody their life, and they're both to blame for that. So if the family sue this cat, that's what they should do. It ain't even about the money. It's just the fact you cost me my child's life. Sue the pants off of them. Make it to where if they have any other kids, they'll know not to ever put them in a Lamborghini again without proper training. And anyways, with that being said, man, rest in peace to Monique, and hopefully her family finds some semblance of peace when this kid gets what he gets. Now, if he goes free, welcome to Los Angeles, and welcome to rich society, and the people that truly have the power. But with that being said, I'm your boy Zod, and you enjoy the rest of your night.
Kneel before Zod!